The jobs report came in at 57,000. The forecast was 115,000. The market's reaction? The Dow hit a new record high. The Nasdaq pulled back close to 1%, and the rate hike conversation, which dominated all week, basically collapsed in one morning. Today was one of those days where a single number changed everything. Hello, welcome back to Due Diligence Desk. This is your daily wrap for Thursday, July the 2nd, 2026, last session before the Independence Day long weekend. It was a split market day and a very eventful one. Let's get into it. Quick reminder, everything here is for education and entertainment, not financial advice. This is my own real money experiment. I'm not a licensed advisor, so don't buy or sell anything just because I did. Do your own research or talk to a licensed professional before making any investment decisions. Let's look at the numbers, and today was a very unusual split. The Dow Jones surged 1.14% to close at 52,900, a brand new all-time high led by Apple, McDonald's, and Disney. The S&P 500 closed essentially flat. The big gains in traditional sectors almost exactly offset the losses in tech. The Nasdaq fell 0.8% to close at 25,832. Chip stocks led the decline. The Russell 2000 small caps fell 1.08% to 2,980. What drove this split? The June jobs report. 57,000 jobs added, nearly half the forecast of 115,000. That's a big miss. And it changed the entire rate conversation overnight. For the Dow, less rate hike pressure is good. Traditional defensive stocks re-rate higher when the Fed looks less likely to tighten. For the Nasdaq, a weaker jobs number signals weaker economic growth, and that means weaker enterprise tax spending. So chip stocks pulled back. One sector cheering loudest, financials. With rate hike odds falling, the yield curve dynamic shifted and bank stocks rallied. Story one is the number everyone was waiting for all week, and it came in dramatically below expectations. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported 57,000 jobs added in June. Wall Street was expecting 115,000. That's not a small miss. That's a miss of nearly half. Let me put that in context. May was revised down from 172,000 to 129,000. April was revised down from 179,000 to 148,000. Combined, that's 74,000 fewer jobs than we thought. So the labor market was already softer than the headline suggested. And then June added another sharp drop. Where did the weakness come from? Leisure and hospitality lost 61,000 jobs in June. That's the World Cup effect reversing. May had seen a big seasonal boost from tournament-related hiring, and it came right back off in June. The unemployment rate actually dipped slightly to 4.2%, but that's partly because the labor force participation rate fell. Fewer people were actively looking for work, which mechanically brings the rate down. That's not the same as a healthy job market. What does this mean for the Fed? The rate hike odds that were being priced in earlier this week, a 34% chance of a September hike, came down fast this morning. Walsh now has a genuine tension to manage. Inflation still above 2% on one side and a labor market cooling faster than expected on the other. The next Fed meeting is late July. There'll be a very interesting press conference. Story 2 is about what happened inside the market today, because it wasn't a simple up or down day, it was a split. The Dow hit a new all-time high led by Apple, up nearly 5%, McDonald's up 3.3%, Disney up 3.8%. 24 of the 30 Dow stocks finished in the green. At the same time, the Nasdaq pulled back 0.8%, SanDisk dropped 14%, Marvel lost nearly 10%, Micron fell 8%, Applied Materials down 7.4%. How do you explain this? It's what strategists are calling the Great Rotation. Money that made huge gains in AI and semiconductor stocks over the first half of the year is rotating out, taking profits and going into traditional sectors: consumer staples, financials, healthcare, industrials. The Dow is full of those names. The NFP misaccelerated this. Lower rate hike probability is good for defensive dividend-paying stocks. It's less clear for high-growth tech, where valuations already depend on strong earnings expectations. Jeff Kilburg at KKM Financial said it well today. This is extremely healthy. It underscores the broadening breadth of equities for this continued bull market. That's one way to look at it. The bull market is widening beyond just a handful of tech names. Story 3 is a question that's been bubbling under the surface for a while, and today it broke through. Two pieces of news hit the AI trade hard today. First, reports that OpenAI is in early discussions to sell a 5% stake to the US government as part of a national AI infrastructure initiative. That's not a typical fundraising move, and the market's first reaction was, if OpenAI needs government capital, what does that say about private market valuations at current levels? Second, Meta announced that it may start selling excess compute capacity to outside customers. That's an interesting business move on the surface, but read it more carefully. Meta is saying it built more AI infrastructure than it currently needs. If that's true for Meta, is it true for others? That question hit chipmakers very hard. The Philadelphia Semiconductor Index, which had been one of the best performance of 2026, up nearly 88% in the second quarter, fell more than 4% in a single session. Now, important perspective, chips are still up massively for the year. One bad day in the context of an 80% quarterly rally is noise, not a trend reversal. But the question being asked today is a legitimate one. Is AI infrastructure spending getting ahead of actual AI revenue? The real answer will come in Q2 earnings season, starting about 2 weeks. When Microsoft, Amazon, Alphabet, and Meta give their CapEx guidance for the rest of 2026, then that's when we'll know whether today's concern is warranted. Before we wrap up, what's ahead? Tomorrow markets are closed, Independence Day. Take a break from the screens. Tuesday, July 7th is an important one. SpaceX officially joins the Nasdaq 100 before the open. That triggers forced buying from all the index funds that track it, including QQQ. Watch for volatility around the open as the rebalancing plays out. Also, keep an eye on any weekend news from the Middle East. The US-Iran talks in Qatar are continuing. Oil prices have come down from their highs, but any escalation over the long weekend could reverse that fast. And from mid-July earnings season. This is the big one. The big banks report first. JP Morgan, Goldman, Citigroup, then the hyperscalers, Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon, Meta. The one number I'll be watching most closely, CapEx guidance. How much are these companies planning to spend on AI infrastructure for the rest of 2026? If they cut back, today's AI sell-off accelerates. If they hold firm, the chip trade recovers. And late July, the next Fed meeting, after today's NFP, Walsh has less pressure to hike, but inflation hasn't gone away. That's going to be a very closely watched press conference. That's the daily wrap for Thursday, July the 2nd, last session before the long weekend. Quick portfolio update, NVDA, pick number 1, pulled back today along with the broader chip sector. Smart score is still 9, well above our methodology floor of 8. No action taken, we hold and we watch. Zeta, pick number 2. Bought at $19.61, smart score 10, strong buy, top analyst target of $32.50, about 65% upside from where I got in. Full breakdown video is live if you want the deep dive. The link is in the description. Pick number 3 is coming, screener not yet run. If today's episode was useful, hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you Tuesday after the long weekend. Have a good day. See you next time.